Everybody notices these handles. That's the first thing you need to look at when you're orienting your boxes to be able to put them together. And if you'll notice, the narrow one has this is called a rabbet right here, that always goes up. That's what your frame's set on. And so I have a certain way I do it, and I like to put the end first, stack it up like that. And I know, can everybody see how that handle is? Because don't think you can't put them upside down, and it's kind of tough to pick that thing up this way. So make sure you have that thing upright, and it's not a problem double checking to make sure. Because I've always heard measure twice and cut once, and the same principle applies to this Hive body. And you put your glue in these slots, and then you can put your glue in these. When you do that, you press it together. This is what you're going to have to watch. I don't know if you can see this space right here. You definitely don't want that. And before you nail the first nail, make sure you tap that thing and you don't see any space between. And if you put this thing together with that joint tight, it's going to be square. And you saw how snug that was going together. That's the way you want them to fit, because when you put this thing outside, that's where you're going to have a problem if you don't get this thing tight. And you definitely do not paint this before you put it together. You're not going to get it together. You're going to take a razor knife and go in and pull that paint out of each joint right here. So when you see that that joint is tight, go ahead and put that first nail in there. And as you go, continue to watch that space. When I nail that, it opened up on his back side. So you just tap the side. You don't have to hit it hard. Just tap it like that. And just keep going. I'm going to leave the other nails out so I can kind of speed things up a little bit. And you do, see, that's, you got to look to see what happens. And it can happen. And it's basically the same for every joint. And it's a whole lot of nailing. I believe it's 47 nails that goes in this box. So you got a whole lot of hammering to do. And but like I say, if you put that thing together and you don't have a gap in these joints here, it's going to be square.
What size are those nails? Those 8-10?
7s, I think.
7?
Yeah.
6.
It's, if you look on your sheet, it'll tell you, yeah, it's got a diagram of the nails. Now you can't go by the diagram. The diagram's a little bit deceiving, but they enlarge it where you could see the basic difference in those nails. It's a different size nail that goes in the Hive body. There's a different size nail that goes into the frames. and they sell you another nut size nail, but you really, if you pay attention to it, you can use the same nail for everything in this hive body. If you take your time where this rabbit is, that's where you'll have a problem with a bigger nail. But if you pay attention to it, you'll be able to get it. So anyway, then you go ahead and you don't have to put a lot of glue. The little mustard jars, it's not mustard in them jars if you want to taste it. It's glue. But anyway, just put a little bit of glue in the bottom of that hole right there. And you can put it up here on this other one. And it isn't necessary. You can put the hive together without the glue, which I'm doing to this one. If you put those nails in there tight, it's going to be snug. And once you paint it, but the key to putting this stuff together is make sure you don't have a space between the joints. That's the key to this box lasting. It can last indefinite, 10, 15 years. The worst abuse that this box takes is when you take this hive tool and you pry it up the super off of the top to check your bees in the brood box. That's where these top corners will take some abuse. Other than that, they're pretty tough. Weather-wise, they can withstand it. Key to this nailing these pieces in here is when you hold that nail, make sure it's straight up and down. If you hold that nail straight up and down, chances are it's going to go in this hive body. And you don't see a whole lot of knots and all this stuff. Knots is not bad, but it's when they're at a joint, they can create a problem. You can nail that nail and it'll come out the side. So that's what you're dealing with. But chances are, if you hold that nail straight, it's going to go into that wood. And the way I'm doing it is not carved in stone. If you can find a better way to do it, go for it. And it's just my way of doing it, and it works for me. And if you find a better way and it works for you, hey, have at it. I mean, it's not a big deal. That's what's a nice thing about bees. You can ask 10 beekeepers a question, and you'll get 15 answers. So, and all of them will be right. Isn't that right? So, it's a trial and error. If you want to try something, hey, go for it. Don't, just because somebody else is doing something different, does not necessarily mean that you're wrong. So if y'all want to get started, this is going to get boring to you, me up here hammering nails. Unless I hit my finger, and then I might light this place up. And that might not be kosher.